Thanks for staying with us. According to reports, the Zamfara State government has asked residents of the state to obtain guns to defend themselves against terrorists attacking defenseless citizens in the state. Zamfara and Katsina are two of the states most affected by the activities of terrorists locally called bandits, whose actions have led to the deaths of hundreds of people and the kidnapping of thousands of others. What are your thoughts on this? We took this story earlier in the papers. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. I'd like to link this with the story recently of, I think it was a priest or a pastor that was in church, and he had on a rifle with him, you know, and many priests have been targets, soft targets for these attackers in recent times. You saw what happened over church. Imagine if the priest had a gun. Imagine if members of the church had guns with them. You know. So, what are your thoughts on this? As it sounds, I mean, I'd like to even say exactly what the AIG, the former retired AIG, former Assistant Inspector General in charge of Federal Operations, Hakeem Odumosu, said that this will compound the problem, that this is not going to solve the problem. According to him, he's very sure the president would not approve this because people who handle guns should have a training of not just to shoot, but also to see. And people can actually also go and mistakenly shoot innocent citizens. So he has a point. If we just give random citizens who don't have the right to shoot, then you're going to be causing more problems. But what are your thoughts in this? And I'd like to start with Tucker because the story you took internationally that had a situation like this. I'd like you to start with that story.
So there was a sad story of a gunman going into a church in the U.S. to do what they've been doing. You know, there's a lot of recent cases of shootings happen, and this man went into the church and shot one person, was able to kill one, but 3 members in the church had guns. And just as he was shooting one person, the 3 of them shot him dead. And the reason the death count was only one was because other people within the auditorium came prepared for such circumstances and were able to attack the assailants, the person who came to shoot within the church. It sort of buttresses the reason to be prepared, you know, the reason to be armed.
Okay, so let me come to Inima. Your thoughts on this, because it seems as though our government has not been able to stop these bandits killing innocent citizens. And they always tell us that doing one thing the same way would also give you madness. You never get the same results. You continue to achieve the same results. Yes. So you have to try something else. Could this be an option, especially because 4 governors at the Zamfara State go and carry arms? One is saying, get 500 more at Motekum. Another one is saying, I want CCTV across my state. Another one is giving the bandits an ultimatum. These are people saying, we can't wait for federal government anymore.
So I can't sit here and deny that, you know, we don't have a crisis of insecurity across the country. I just cannot. What I cannot understand is the governor seeming helpless and saying to the larger number of uninformed people carry weapons. Because when the disaster reached finish, he will not admit that he caused it. Let's talk about Zamfara and Katsina, for instance, and the level of information that the people in that area have before you say carry weapons. The people who are already carrying weapons, is their lack of information that makes it okay for them to kill other people just to justify one agitation or the other, which is what we are dealing with. They initially were called bandits, and now they've been proscribed as, you know, terrorists, and yet we still don't even have a solution to it. So the solution for me is not to tell everybody, carry weapons in your house. Yes, you can have anything for self-defense, but just nobody cannot continue to have firearms. Firearms is something that you must regulate. And you cannot say because we are now in a serious crisis, all of you, defend yourself. I've always been on this table, and I would not understand that self-help option. Because when the crisis comes, anybody... Imagine, once I was at Toyota, I had a broken down tire on the Apapa Oshodi Expressway. And my tire was being fixed, and then these boys showed up. And I said, I don't have much. You know, usually they say you have your anti-settle loss. Myself and my husband, and I gave them 200 naira. The guy said, this one is not our money. It's like you don't know what's happening. If I had a gun, I would shoot him straight. If I had a gun, I would just pick the gun and level it down.
But hang it there. The reason why I say hang it there, it's not easy. It's easy. No, if you are licensed, hang in there. If you are licensed, which is what the Zamfara government is saying, license means that you register. I have your NIN number. Every bullet you shoot, I know it is Nima's bullet. So you you're responsible for that shooting right there.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
yes.
That's it. Actually,
let me finish my point.
Okay.
Because that's not what I think he's saying.
Okay.
Already in Nigeria, we have people who are licensed to carry guns in their houses. You apply, you get the licenses. I think they don't give female, they give male. But they have it. We have that provision already. But you cannot just call out. You know, Governor Autumn did it one time when he screamed and said, everybody, defend yourself. You can't continue like that. You as governor must do the needful. The needful is employ more qualified police officers.
Where is he going to get the money? He's not in charge. He's not in charge.
Then he doesn't admit that there's a crisis.
Okay, let me come to you.
Okay, so for me too, for so long I've been on this side of the table where I don't see why you would tell civilians to go and defend themselves or carry arms. But I would not deny the fact that too many attacks have happened. And the story we hear is we're investigating to see who has done it. The police appeared very late into the action, hours or a whole day after, before security was able to get to that village or the community that it happened. And I think that this has to be the only rational step forward. And the reason I have changed my stance is because I'm looking at it. This is not a governor saying to people, everybody on the street, go and get guns. He's saying that people should prepare and obtain these weapons from the police. They'll be licensed to them, so we know who and who is getting what. And for the farmers who are going to into the farms, you would have your weapons. You know, you have at least basic weapons that can use to defend yourself. We have to do this because obviously our country does not have the wherewithal, as we like to say, to protect all its citizens. We don't have enough manpower to be everywhere in Nigeria when these attacks happen. So we need to have people who can defend themselves. Another thing is that they're asking for more volunteers to join the guards, the local and community security that help to protect these people. So this is someone that is sitting there and thinking, we need to find a different way to do this. We need to help ourselves. Now, we know that there are factors in our country really that can make this thing implode. But if we follow it based on the way he stated, meaning we'll do it legally, you get a license, we can confirm who has what, and if there's a missing arm, you can trace it to who last owned it or who applied to have it. So in this case, I think this is the best way to go for now.
And I think, Nimariam, also, the crime we see, I mean, the other day, Tokwe was almost robbed. If the person that wants to go and rob you, if you know that there's the potential that that person has a gun, so you are going there, know that I'm going to take somebody's phone, but you know that there's the possibility because now we are licensed. If they know that there's a person that Tokwe that is driving might have a gun or she shows a gun, he wouldn't try to sit. So maybe, just maybe, if we begin to license citizens who can properly register and we can trace it to you, maybe crime would reduce. I don't know.
We're talking of this specific.
I know Zamfara is specific, but if we make it because where we are right now, we have a crisis, as you have said. So is that we do it or we don't?
So my perspective is we cannot treat a sickness that we have not diagnosed. So it is like we haven't properly, let's do a proper diagnosis of what the problems are. What's the issue with our security structure? Most of the police stations don't have enough resources. They don't have bullets. Their vehicles are run down. They don't have fuel in the vehicle. When you call them, because they're not well motivated. These are the real issues. So are we saying that we want to disregard the police, we will not resolve their issues, and they will not give guns to individuals? No. Because at the end of the day, I feel that until we deal with the real issues, that's diagnosing the real symptoms. So the governors are acting out of frustration.
Nigerians, we have diagnosed, and they've thrown money at it, but yet corruption keeps taking that money away. So you as a government say, police force, they need more money. You budget more money, but that money doesn't get to the policeman.
That did not
somehow
diagnose well. The real issue is that we need to bring in state policing and community policing. You cannot stop me on the road in Auchi and you don't understand my language. And my English is not good. And I'm having challenges to communicate with you. So if you are in Auchi, you are an Auchi person, Remember what we spoke about, the hero that rescued, that drove the tanker out of a community? He said, this is my people. These are my people. I cannot let fire or harm come to them. Community policing, your brother, your sister, you know them, you know your uncle, you people go to church together, you pray together in the mosque. When community police or sheriff or whatever stuff we create each community have rights to guns. So when you are calling, you are not calling a random police officer, you're not calling 9112. You are calling Baba something something. A man you know is in custody of the security of this area. That man knows your children are endangered. That man comes up with his guns to protect you. That is what we need to do.
I understand it, and it's quite idealistic. I get what you're saying, because that is I always feel that when we're trying to solve a problem, especially a problem that has just been so endemic and has lasted for so many years, there has to be a short-term solution alongside a long-term solution. That will be a long-term solution. Eventually, we'll have to increase manpower. The short-term solution is right now, today, tomorrow. There are some people that are going to go into some communities, some villages, and they are going to just shoot at defenseless, innocent people. Imagine if they had a few people who were licensed.
Those guys in our church members in our
were licensed to
part of the casualties you have are those boys.
So we're talking of.
Do you know what a firearm?
Can I just finish? Let me just finish. We're talking of people who would go through the process of getting these guns. We're not talking of random people that will just be handed.
Will train you?
Yes, they'll train you. They'll give you go to the police. The police will hand these guns over to you. We're not talking of people randomly on the street and they're just throwing guns at them. The thing is, the fear that we have about how it will eventually, implode is also, I mean, the negatives of the way it is right now. The negatives is that we don't have enough manpower. That's the negative. But there's a positive that, but this way can make for that shortfall, can make up for that shortfall.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation and then we'll take a few calls. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this issue of the governor saying that the people within his state should carry arms. I was going to come to Nima. Go ahead, please.
So I was going to totally agree with all Tokwe said earlier about community policing and how it's the best way to go. So we have a system of security enforcers legally created by law, whose business entirely is to secure an environment. And we localize it. They know the people, they know the corners, like the chief Catholic priest who was killed in Isaka West. Find somebody that knows the forest, that knows the bush, and everybody like that, and secure the people. That's the solution. And I don't agree that licensing or giving people license to carry gun is short-term. I think it's a process that requires serious work before you give anybody gun. In fact, the basic thing is to check whether they're emotionally intelligent. We cannot have everybody, the ones that are existing now, because we know that illegally there are weapons everywhere. The government is unable to mop it up. They're in the hands of the most stupid set of people who think it's a means to an end in the wrongest ways. See what we are dealing with already. So imagine, even if it is legal, what we will have every day in our courts is, you know, some murders that people are trying to justify, some form of grievous bodily harm people are trying to justify every single day. Government must do what government needs to do. You must control your security. You cannot put it in the hands of everybody. You know, my story is different from your story, but every time it's your story against mine, if it's two people's story. I can come out and say, no, I have every justification to kill him. He trespassed. He went into my property. Whereas we are Africans, people, they pass through your property before for easement. It wasn't an issue then, because we are watching a lot of Western movies. We now say in America, people just go crazy daily. I don't believe having a weapon in anybody's hands is a solution. Ordinary estate security, when they clash with people, you know somebody will just pick a gun and shoot. I have a video where a truck was trying to pass through my estate and we refused, and they shot. They just picked up a gun and they shot. If somebody was passing, we have somebody dead. I don't believe it should be like that.
Okay, let me take this call from Victor.
It must be regulated.
Victor from Italy. Good morning. Are you there? Hello. Good morning, Victor.
Yeah, I know you guys are trying and solution after the problem. You know, in Nigeria we have a very big problem, and our security network, they lack the letter word, which makes up security, which is information and communication. You see, our governors or our president, if they really know what they want, they have to withdraw all the police, right from the president down to the local government chairman. They have to withdraw all of them back home. Let us withdraw the police from all these people, even from the churches, the pastors. Then we have to do our homework. In the first place, when they said everybody has to carry weapons to defend themselves, what stops them to build up community policing? Because like in Western world, like in America, you find out that they have this community policing, of which these are the systems they are practicing in Nigeria. If a police in Houston, if you commit any offense, they chase you to a border, to the next border, they will stop and pass the information to the next community, of which that person, that kind will be called. But situation whereby Nigeria know what to do, I mean the president, the politicians, they know what to do, and they don't want to do it. You see, in the other way around, if they withdraw this police, let's just try the test. If we draw all these police from these people for 6 months, you find out that these terrorists or whatsoever will stop for a while. It's because they are not feeling the heat. You see today, the masses, the poor people are the ones suffering this, problem.
Security
people in Abuja, they don't even see the pain.
Okay,
so they have to withdraw all these people.
Thank you very much, Victor. All right, so there is this crucial point of this community policing we're talking about. And we've been talking about it, it's been on the burner for a while. And it goes back to the use of the National Assembly. And some of the critics of this community policing are some government, some lawmakers saying that some states cannot afford it. That it's easy for those of you maybe from Lagos because, hey, you have the money to pay for police. But there's some states that are struggling with revenue, and they are even struggling to pay salaries for their civil servants right now. They cannot handle state policing because they can't afford it. So there are various arguments. You will look at both ways. How easy, now someone said regional policing. So if you can't afford it, there'll be a police within your region that can do that. But there are also arguments saying it's still...
We've always had local security apparatus that people are paying. Even every community, we are paying.
Has private.
Every community has private security payment structure that they gather to pay either OPC or they are paying vigilantes. We are paying. Nigerians are paying forest guards. Nigerians are paying for security every day, and yet they are not safe because the structures we are paying are not legally recognized structures. OPC would always complain that if we arrest, sometimes the police will say we shouldn't have arrested the person. The person we went about it is wrong. Sometimes OPC would arrest and they will say the police is arresting the OPC person because they arrested illegally. When we create a formal structure, we make things work. In the north, I remember when the crisis of Chibok and crisis happened in the north, they needed to have a joint task force, which involved the local hunters that understand the forest. Because right now, we in forest have taken over. Some people they grew up in that forest, they understand the forest. So you cannot bring someone who doesn't know the terrain to protect, to preserve that area. And when we localize it, the community knows how they pay and ensure we are contributing to our security trust for this our local government.
Already they pay the terrorists.
Well, if we are these people of war now, we contribute the money, we ensure that this is an accountability process where the money pays for these people that are protecting us in this community. It can be done. We just need our leaders to think in that line and create a structure to make it legal.
Adesua, that comes to you, Mariam. Go on, Adesua from Abuja. You're live. Hello, Adesua.
Okay, so you know, every time we talk about solutions to our problem, we always insist on localizing our solution. It has to be grassroots, you know, influenced. You have to be part of that community or the grassroots to understand what exactly would be the solution to this issue. And from what I have seen, you know, step by step, the solutions that have been preferred are not just random, you know, pick different things. They have agreed that they would need additional paramilitary units to support the community protection guards. So there are already those guards, those forest guards, we'd say, they have them in their communities, but they're asking for about 200 more. Then they're asking for paramilitary. And on top of that, they're saying that those who are qualified and have gone through the process should also carry guns. This is because they have looked at that community, they've looked at their state and think these are the things that would help us. We're not just naming things because we were so angry and frustrated. So it's not coming only from a place of we're so frustrated, let everybody just run out on the street and pick up arms. these are the steps we need to take to solve our problems. Paramilitary, more community guards, and some farmers will need to be able to hold some basic weapons to give themselves some basic form of protection. Knowing that the farmers who are going to the farms are sort of protected or armed would make it very hard for people to just think and just randomly bump into them and just kill them and run away. They now understand that to go into the farm is not child's play anymore. Exactly. These farmers will be able to defend themselves. And then when you get to the next level, we have community guards who are already around this community protecting them. Then they're asking for a bigger platform, paramilitary, alongside government policing and whatever it is that we already have on ground. I feel that it is easy sometimes to just say, no, don't do something, or to say that people will be influenced by watching Western movies and then start carrying guns on each other. These are people who are living in fear. Their tomorrow is not assured. They are not sure that the person that they are lying beside today will be beside them tomorrow, because some random people are just going to walk into their community, ransack their village, and take people away. We have to do something
That's
today.
an interesting angle. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll open our phone lines and take more calls. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still having this conversation about having arms. So we're saying the reality on ground is the fact that we have a security crisis in our country. And what's the best solution? Some have said we should have state policing. Others have said, listen, because it's been licensed, there's a way we can actually curtail the overzealousness of some Nigerian youths. Another angle is that the people we plan to license are more reasonable and rational Nigerians. So, for example, in an estate, you license maybe the president of the association of the residents. You license the priest of a church, the imam of the certain key places, the principal of the school, the head teachers. Certain people who are in charge of communities. So it's more deliberate. I mean, is that a solution? Because hey, we are providing our own pump water in our own communities. We are providing our own electricity because we have generators. We are providing safety for our kids. We are having helps in the houses. These are things that Nigerians are already solving problems themselves. So in the case of security, maybe we should start looking at that angle. Nima.
So we should just leave our jobs and start to carry weapons and secure. No, now because the objective here is to still to secure. See, we were once in that kind of state in Lagos, and I know when the Lagos State Security Trust Fund was created, funding police was an issue. Lagos, what they did before a Amotekun agreement came up was to partner the police in Lagos. They created the RRS within this state. You can beef up your police within your state as a governor. Stop acting as if this thing is has defied all solution. So farmers on your way to farm now. If your state is a farming state, you will secure it as if you are securing pipeline now.
Yes.
Put your policemen on the path to farms and protect farmers. So while they're farming, it is a regular patrol thing. Create roads, open up the entire place. It's because this is a forest. That's why bandits can hide and open up the place. Secure the farmers. Don't put the gun in the hands of the farmer and tell him, forget your cutlass, start to hold gun. What you're saying. No, but that's what you're saying. So, see, I understand the governor's fear. All other states are going through this. Create a machinery where it is still easy to regulate it than to say just license it and so you hold it and so you preempt an attack. Why not secure the place so that he doesn't have to worry about that attack and he can freely carry out his business, which is his original business?
So I obviously I'm on the side of what Nima is saying, but when I hear Mariam and we read the reports of what's happening in Plateau State or what is happening in Niger State, people that can no longer we talk to farmers and we see that they can no longer go to their farmland because they are worried that the plants they cannot go and harvest. They have to pay people before they can visit their farms. We would then understand the level of challenge that is on ground within the states. I still would blame the governors. I think that the governors are not exercising creativity as much as possible and maximizing the resources available to them in terms of people on ground. And I would not want to put guns. We see what is happening in America. Yes, I could say the story of how they shot back at someone, but the real crisis is when you have guns everywhere. You will have killings and shootings everywhere. So we think we have killings and shootings right now. But when we have more guns, we would have more killings and shootings. You will have cases where people will just feel like I'm angry, I'm depressed, or somebody was a small
But this
child
time
will
around,
play
you'll be able
with
to
it.
arrest the
You
shooter
know,
because you know the gun.
A developed country is still struggling with the fact that there are
arrest
guns
them.
everywhere. So we would have more cases of killings and shootings, and we don't have the structure to curtail the drama that would happen at that point in time. So I hear the governor. I empathize with him because I know that he's probably overwhelmed with the crisis within the states, but I want to challenge him to do more, think more, and bring people together to resolve the issue without saying
let me
everybody's
take
I think we can wrap up on this. Let's take a
Can I
few
say-
comments on social media before we wrap up. Yes, Mariam.
Yes, I just
the
will
same
also-
police force. Okay, go on.
Yes, I just also wanted to say that I know many times we say that governors are not doing their part or they're not being creative enough. From what I have read, I feel that this is a governor that really wants to do his best. And where I think we disagree on this table is the fact of putting the arms in for individuals to arm themselves. But I hope that we all agree about the community guards, the paramilitary. Those are important steps that he's also taking. And I guess he can start off from there and then maybe eventually sit down again and ask if that last one is something he wants to do. The reason I say that is, imagine if there's a town hall meeting and they're asking for more people to join community guards, paramilitary, and no one is showing up. And the farmers are there saying, we want to go to the farm, give me this gun, I'll go to this farm and protect myself. What would you say to the people when that comes up?
Okay, let's take a few comments,
that happen.
then we'll wrap up on this.
Akimboyewa says, possession of guns for self-defense will keep anyone safe is a myth. We must not forget that bandits don't only carry assault weapons, they also carry rapid-propelled weapons and bombs. Government should put pressure on federal government to give us state and community police. And he says, it's like fuel subsidy. For it to work, you have to put certain things in place. Fact is, our police currently lack the forensic capability to track the guns. In today's Nigeria, I agree with Nima and Odumosu that it will be a disaster. Elegbede says, the United States of America is facing the consequence of gun licensing today. Now, compare this to Nigerians being licensed to bear firearms and still we have issues tracking down terrorists. We will surely be faced with increased crime rates. And Emeka says, we are under police, and most of the under police officers are either on escort or on guard of private firms. If the government is really serious about fighting insecurity, they should cut down escort by 50%.
Right.
Then most persons will sit up.
Okay, we're going to wrap up right now. Yeah, go ahead.
We have some messages. Oladidi says, we have many jobless, able youth, yet we don't have enough security men. In the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. And Nam says, they let criminals own guns to harass innocent citizens. Give innocents the right to defend themselves. Yemen has the highest rate of gun per capita, according to him, more than the USA, and they don't have mass shootings. He also said, you will market to the landlords in your area. Gun business is big money.
Let me take it. Chedoze says, the same police force that is the poster child of corruption in this country, is the police really ready to do the hard graft to license millions to carry weapons without recourse to bribery?
Did you say millions? Did you say all of Nigeria?
We need to wrap up on this. I think we're clear on the fact that, yes, the police we don't have enough policemen.
Obviously. We
need more police. Our police force is totally understaffed. And we're still having that security issue. But I think what is most crucial is the importance of our lawmakers, because the debate on state policing is still on the table. And there's so many people out there within the National Assembly that are refusing to pass on this bill. So what is delaying it? What exactly are the issues? Because when we have more of these cases, we begin to wonder
the fears.
What are their fears? Let's have a debate on this before we then close up on this. But that's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.